and welcome to the Flying Show 2017 series. My name is Carlos, and to kick off this series we've got Andrew Kendrick. Andrew, welcome to the Flying Show. How are you?
G'day Carlos, very good, thank you.
That's good. Now, Andrew, you're building an absolutely stunning aircraft already. It's a Bernard's Pietenpol.
Pietenpol Air Camera, that's right, yeah.
Now, how long have you, when did you start actually?
So I started about 3 years ago in collecting the information and getting the parts together and what have you. But I actually started cutting some wood about 12 months ago, so the progress you see to date is about 12 months old.
And how long do you reckon it'll take to get it all finished?
Well, that's a good question. I'd like to say it's almost finished, but I think there's still probably another couple of years left in it, because there's a lot of work in just covering it and painting it and getting everything right.
Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit about your background. You're obviously a pilot.
Yeah, so I'm an engineer by training, if you like, but that's what I used to pay for all the flying. I've got a pilot's licence. I've finished that probably about 2 or 3 years ago now. And so for the last couple of years, I've just been paying to use someone else's plane, and I sort of decided, well, it'd be a bit more fun if I had my own.
Isn't that unbelievable that, you sort of start flying, and I've got a real interest in this sort of stuff, the home build segment. People of varying backgrounds, like yourself, electronics engineer, working with wood, how did that come about?
Well, I guess if you want to build, it's either metal, wood or a composite, and wood's far more forgiving, far easier to work with, I think, anyway. And there's sort of that aviation heritage sort of charm to it, that period of aviation in the 30s when it was so just the next big thing. And it's actually a really good material to work with. As I say, it's really forgiving. It's relatively cheap. And it also, strength per weight, wood is up there with metal. It's actually, it's surprising. Balsa wood, for instance, weight per weight has the same strength as aluminium.
That is amazing.
It's not something everyone realises, but you've had some big wooden planes in the past that have, things like the Mosquito, the de Havilland Mosquito, that have an unbelievable performance. It was the fastest thing in its time, and it was all just wood.
Yeah, even the Vampire apparently has got a few cricket bats in the wings and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, just hang on a second. Don't go away. I've got to get this, mate. Now, I was going to carry this with me all day, right? Now, you're actually even having to go at building a propeller. That is stunning, mate. That is absolutely gorgeous.
There was
all laminated timber.
There's a fair few boxes of Panadol involved in that. It's incredibly hard to think in 3D. I think that's the hardest thing. I've spent a lot of hours in the shed just trying to work out which way the blades had to go to do the job, and it works though. I've had it on the engine, and it does what it's meant to do.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, the engine, now that you mention it. Apparently the Pietenpol had, about 50 different types of engines that it could take, and it just affected the length of the nose and all that sort of stuff. I love the engine already, mate. Tell us a bit about that, mate.
Well, that's a Holden 202 red motor. And although it wouldn't appear from this angle that there's been a lot of research gone into it, there actually has been. There's a few different options. I mean, the original had a Model A engine in it.
Exactly right.
And they're nice, but they're sort of hard to get in Australia. I mean, relatively hard to get. You can still get them, but I guess you pay a price for them. Yeah. But I wanted to try and use something that was really cheap and available in the same spirit. So this whole plane was designed to be the everyman's plane. Everyone can build it cheaply. And so I've tried to stick to that spirit rather than stick to the originality of using the Ford Model A. Right, okay. And so, I mean, you can basically get these things for next to nothing. So that's been the choice there, but it's not only the cost aspect. I actually wanted something that would perform in the same way as the Model A, but without needing a gearbox. So some of the other options, so the Model A was direct drive, but some of the other options like a Suzuki or one of the other smaller engines like that, Subaru engine or something like that, would need a gearbox, a redrive, to get down to the prop speed, which I didn't really like the added complexity And it also, in my opinion, makes the plane sound a bit wrong as well. You know.
Yeah, you're right. I was just going to get to that because I think the Chevrolet Corvair is one of the most popular engines for the Pietenpol.
Yeah, the Corvair. And again, you can get them shipped in from the States. They weren't really sold in Australia. But I sort of thought, well, the Model A, the 202 rather, sort of Australian engine. Maybe not an Australian plane, but at least along those lines. Yeah.
Now, the Pietenpol, I hear some of the guys are having a bit of trouble with the centre of gravity being back a bit too far. And the beauty of it, you can actually adjust the wing, move the wing forward and backwards a bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can. They do move the wing forward and back to compensate. Yeah. They also lengthen the fuselage. So as the lighter, if you put a Lycoming or a Continental air-cooled engine on the front, they're a bit too light. So a little bit tail heavy, and they have to move the wings accordingly. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a 1928 when it first was made and flown.
Yep.
And apparently Bernard Pietenpol actually didn't know how to fly an aircraft. He actually built it first, and so the story goes, built a plane first and then learned to fly, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's not the case with you. You're already a pilot.
No, I thought it was probably easier to learn to fly first.
Exactly right.